Today I'm going to demonstrate one way that you can install a backsplash. What's going on? Welcome to today's video. My name is Colton and today I'm going to demonstrate one way that you can install a backsplash. Now the style of backsplash that I'm installing is called Zellige. I don't really know the right way to say it. An old tile look, I believe from like Spain or somewhere. It looks good, so bear with me till the end, and I'm not gonna use grout. Now, before you start judging and saying that all backsplashes need grout, that's not necessarily the case. This is the same type of look and feel that is starting to become more and more popular. You'll see this design in some of the episodes of Fixer Upper. There are a couple where Joanna actually grouts, but then I think there's actually one or two that she doesn't grout at all, and that's the look I'm going for. I also believe that I think Studio McGee, she uses this in some of her designs. Nevertheless, all the products that I use for this specific project will be down below in the description. And the time that it took me to complete this project was probably about a half a day. It's a lot of measuring twice, cut once, rinse and repeat, and keep going. So let's get started. First, you'll want to clear off your countertops. Any appliances, decor, cookware, all of it. Remove any outlet covers and head down to your breaker box and cut the power to those outlets. Make sure you grab a voltage tester to ensure that the power is cut from those outlets. And to get the full backsplash look that I want, I'm going to remove this backsplash. Some people call it a slab splash. And to do that, I just took a razor, cut the caulk on the top and bottom, grabbed my scraper and a pry bar, slipped it in, and slowly wedged it out without damaging the wall or breaking or cracking the stone that you're trying to wedge away. Make sure to remove all of these shorter backsplashes for a more complete look. You don't have to, but I did. Next, remove all the remaining caulk. First, I just took a razor blade, held it at a 45-degree angle, scraped the countertop, and this came off really easy. For the wall, essentially I did the same thing, but if your wall is textured, just be careful to not make huge gashes in your wall. Next, in preparation for laying the adhesive, make sure your wall is clean. Dust, grime, oil splatter, whatever it may be. You can go super hardcore heavy on what cleaner you use, but honestly in the past, Dawn dish soap works great. I grabbed some painter's tape, put it on the edge, made sure it's straight. This will help create a clean line when the adhesive dries. I put tape on the top towards cabinets because my cabinets and countertop didn't align perfectly. Next, I like to dry fit my tile just to get a feel for how much I need to cut. I want the lower part of my backsplash to be a full tile height and any cuts to be higher up towards the cabinets. Pull out your range or oven and make sure you're careful to not scratch your floor. And I took a piece of painter's tape and connected it from countertop to countertop, making sure it was level because I'm not going to go further than that. Loosen the screws for your outlet and pull those out. Don't disconnect them completely. This just helps get the outlet out of the way as you're applying the adhesive. Next, I taped up some of the dry fit tiles that I put on to see if the outlet cover would line up without making any weird cuts. Then this also provided me the opportunity to measure out the space that I needed to cut the tile on the top to make that complete. Then I transferred that same measurement on a piece of tile, made a mark, flipped it over, drew out my line, go to your wet tile saw, make sure you have plenty of water, and cut it. Next, grab your tile trowel, put some of the adhesive on the straight end. You can do this by grabbing a putty knife and scooping that adhesive and putting it on the trowel, and then taking your trowel and then scraping that on the wall. Start with a generous amount and do a larger area, because when you do a larger area and spread that out, you can actually put tile on faster and the job goes by much quicker. And if you don't like using the trowel, don't be afraid of taking a putty knife and using that as your applicator to the wall, and then just using your trowel to make those grooves on the wall. Here's what's happening. When you take your tile trowel and you make these grooves, hold it at a 45-degree angle, so you're making sure that the adhesive that is being left by the groove is enough for the tile to stick to. And the reason why there are those grooves is because when you take the tile and you squish it on the wall, that adhesive needs to then spread and go somewhere. And it goes somewhere more easily if there's room for it to spread. It has a stronger bond because when you collapse those ridges, it pushes out the air, and there's a higher chance of the tile being adhered to the wall because of that adhesive. You're essentially maximizing the coverage and the bond of the tile to the wall. Now take the tile pieces, lay the first one in the corner, make sure it's lined up straight, and then start stacking on your other tile pieces. I didn't use spacers because I'm not going to use grout. You'll see how it turns out at the end. Now around your outlets, you're probably going to have to make some special cuts. You'll see that I use a full tile height on the right of the outlet, and I needed to make some special cuts into the tile right above because the outlet still extends into that area. So I made my marks how wide I needed to go and then also how high I needed to go. Then I went to my tile saw and started cutting. Now, here's some tricks. The tile blade is curved, so that means the area that's being cut underneath that you can't see is actually being cut further from the area that you can see. So don't go all the way. Flip it over, make a whole bunch of relief cuts, and then go as far as you need to, and then you can just break off these pieces. Then you can use a tile saw to essentially grind down or sand down the area to be a little bit more precise in your cut. Go back to your wall, apply some adhesive with your trowel or putty knife, spread it out using those grooves, and then keep going. You're going to repeat these steps over and over and over again, and this is really easy because of the tile pieces that I'm using. I'm just butting up the tile up next to each other, and I'm not using grout because it creates more of a rustic look. Now if you're using the typical like subway tile and you want that traditional backsplash look, grab some spacers and make sure it's all evenly spaced, and then you can grout later. I went back and removed the tape before it completely dried, so it was easier to take off. Then I also made sure to add some outlet extenders. Push the outlet through the box first, then take the wires, push it back in the box, take the screws, screw it all in, make sure it's snug, put the cover back on, and tighten it all up. Sometimes on tile you'll find these little clear stringy pieces. You can just lightly scrape those off. Take a blade or something thin to clean it in between the cracks for any adhesive that may have seeped out. Take some caulk the edge, smooth it out, caulk the counterline, smooth that out, and caulk right below the cabinets and above your backsplash. Make sure you clean off your countertop, scrape off any adhesive that may have gone on your countertop because it gets a little messy. Put back any appliances, your range, decor, and now you're done. Thank you so much for checking out today's video. If you liked what you just watched, go ahead and consider subscribing and also hit that like button down below. If you want to see other how-to videos just like this, go ahead and click this link right up here. Click on this little face to subscribe. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.